this video, we will be drawing this beautiful picture of night camping in forest landscape. We will start by making the sky and then add lots of trees to make the background. We will then draw the main tent with a person sitting and reading a book and add 2 more tents on either side. After that, we will add some details to the foreground by adding some grass and rocks. We will add some stars in the night sky and then draw the moon. And finally, we will finish it off with some smoke coming out from the campsite. I hope you will enjoy this tutorial. Paint a masterpiece of your own. So without further ado, let's start. So I have taken a canvas size of 720 times 1280 pixels. 720 is the width and height is 1280. As the painting is in the portrait mode, you can take any canvas size as long as you keep the width dimensions lesser than the height dimension. So now I will draw and paint the sky. For that, I have used the first color from the left of the bottommost row in the swatch, and with that I will draw the topmost 1/3 of the canvas. I will paint with medium brush size 3 full opacity that dark blue color for the sky. After that, in a new layer with the second blue color from the left on the lowest row or the bottommost row of the swatch, I will draw a rectangle to fill the second 1/3 from top part of the canvas, the part of the sky. And then I will merge both the layers so that both the layers come down to one layer so that I can use Gaussian blur under adjustments. And by using the Gaussian blur under adjustments to nearly 25%, I will blur the sky. I'll switch off the sky layer and I have expanded my canvas, and in a new layer I am using the freehand from that the S written tool, and using that I am making the left half of one pine tree, and after that I'll fill it with the bottommost rows 4th dark blue color from the left, which is the darkest blue on the swatch, and I'll provide you the swatch. After that, using the arrow tool that you can see on the top, I will select this and use the copy paste under actions. The wrench tool is the actions. Under that, I'll use the copy paste to make another same left hand part of this pine tree. But once I have copy and pasted, the pasted half will be in a new layer. So I will make sure I go to that arrow tool and click on flip horizontal. So after I have flipped it horizontally, I'll drag it to the right to make the right side of this pine tree, and then I'll bring them closer and make sure that their tips are aligned and they look like one complete whole pine tree. After that, I'll merge both the layers, and whatever little bit work is left to make sure that our pine tree looks complete and fabulous, I'll use the medium brush with 1% size and same color, which is the 4th from the left of the bottommost row of the swatch, and finish the pine tree. Once the pine tree is completed, I'll merge both the layers of the left hand side and the right hand side of the pine tree, and I will reduce its size using that arrow tools uniform. Once the size is reduced, then I'll use the freeform and elongate the pine tree so that it gives that picture of long tall pine trees. Once that is done, I'll go to the actions and I will use the copy paste to create lots of pine trees and position them in such a way that they form a dense pine forest. So all the copy paste that you will be doing, it will be creating pine trees on different layers. So after your thick pine forest has been done, please go and merge all the layers formed due to the copy pasting of the pine trees, and then your pine forest will be completed. Now using the green color from the middle row of the swatch, the fifth from the left, that green color, you draw a curved shape in front of the pine tree. So after that, once the curved shape is formed, you can use the fourth color from the middle row from the left to color on the left and the right side in a slanted line, as you can see from the video. After that, we are going to draw the tent. So for the tent, what I have done is I have taken the dark red, it's the third color from the first row from the top in the swatch, and using it I have made the outline of the tent, whereas I have used the fourth color from the left on the topmost row of the swatch to fill the inside of the tent. And all of this have been done using the medium brush with 1% size under airbrushing. But for making the glow of the lamp, that the lamp is glowing inside, I have used the brush which is known as light brush under luminance, and using the yellow color, which is the first color on the middle row from the left, I have made this glowing yellow marks on the tent. Just follow along the shape that I have drawn, then you will get that glow in your tent. This glow is like when there is a lamp inside the tent. So the yellow this yellow light painting with the light brush has been done on a new layer on top of the tent layer, and I have smudged those rough lines, and I will also reduce the opacity of the layer to 60%. So in a new layer, which will be in between this yellow light layer and the tent layer, I will put a layer where I will draw the human who is sitting and reading a book. And for that, I will draw first the head in a small circle, and then draw like a C for his back. Then draw an A to make his thighs and legs, and slightly color it to give him the silhouette of a human being. And then I'll draw a book on top of his knees and place two hands so that it looks like a human being is reading a book. And after that I'll go back to the tent layer and reduce its opacity to 66% around or 60% around, so that the human feels like he is sitting inside the tent. So in another new layer, I'll be creating the lamp that is glowing inside the tent. So for that, I am using monoline with the same color, and I'll draw a hollow cylindrical shape, and within that hollow cylinder I'll make two more lines which will give you the impression of that lamp. And from calligraphy itself or medium brush from airbrushing with 1% size and the same color, you have to draw a thin line from one end of the tent's rooftop to the other, which will go through the lamp to show that the lamp is hanging on that wire. In the new layer, I will be using the color yellow, which is first from the left on the middle row of the swatch. and with that medium brush with 1% size, put a draw a circle around the lamp to show that the lamp is glowing. And we will also using the brown color from which is third from the left on the topmost row of the swatch, and using using medium brush from airbrushing 1% size, draw four lines for the tent to hold on to the ground. Now you will go to the layer where your sitting human is there, and you will copy and paste that layer using that wrench tool which is called actions. Under that you copy and paste it, and it will be pasted in a new layer. And now you flip that layer, flip that by using the arrow tool, and do flip vertical. Now to make it bigger than the real human inside, you will use the warp under that arrow tool and pull it a bit so that it can form a bigger shadow of that human inside. Also lower the opacity of the shadow layer to 67%. So using the free hand from S on the top left, I am drawing the shape of the tent, and I am filling it with the first color from the left on the topmost layer of the swatch to give the shape of the tent. You can look at the video and follow along to see how I have drawn the tent, and using the first color and then using the first four colors from the left on the topmost row of the swatch, I'll be drawing and painting the tent to give it a 3D effect, that there are shadows and midtones and highlights. So just follow along the way I am doing it, and you'll be able to create your own tent in no time. Once this red tent has been done, I will copy and paste it, and I will drag it to my right, to be on the right of the middle tent. And then I will go to adjustments, and by changing the hue of that newly formed tent on the right, bringing down the hue to 12% around, I will turn this red tent into a purple tent. Under adjustments, there is an option called curves. Using curves, I will make that purple color a bit darker, and that's how you are creating two tents of two different colors without having to go through the same process of creating a tent. Now in a new layer, I'll be drawing few vector style grass on the green patch. So I'll be using the fifth color from the right of the middle row of the swatch, and using a medium brush of 1% size, I'll draw three lines in the form of a grass that you can see, like a V and then a line in the middle, and I will create such shapes of grass all around on this. I am using copy and pasting. You can go and draw it yourself too. And if you are copying and pasting like me, or if you are drawing by yourself, all of the grass blades will be on one particular layer, and that's absolutely fine. But if you are copying and pasting like I am doing and creating different sizes with the arrow tools freehand, with the arrow tools warp or uniform or freeform, then after all your grass blades have been done, you have to bring the different bunches of grass you have to merge them all into one layer. Now it's time that we make some rocks in front of the grassland. I'm using the freehand tool from the S and create any shape of the rock you want. So I have done the bottommost layer with a very dark brown, and which is like the second color from left on the topmost row of the swatch. Then the next middle layer is with the fifth brown from the left on the topmost row of the swatch, and the topmost layer is using the first color from the right of the topmost layer of the swatch. So you can form your rock in any shape you want. So in the middle layer of the brown, I have then used a highlight of red, the fourth red from the left of the topmost row of the swatch, and then I will go to the color which is third from the right of the topmost layer of the swatch, and I'll paint over these rocks to give the highlight effect, and then I will smudge. All of these things are done with medium brush and size nearly 1%. So feel free to make any rock of any shape that you want. There is no hard and fast rule that you have to do exactly the way I am doing, but that's how I have done. After this rock is totally formed, I will copy it and I will paste it twice and I will flip them horizontally and adjust their colors. Hue, saturation, brightness from adjustments to give the effect that they are different from the one that I have drawn on the left. So that I will do, and also I will use curves from adjustment to maybe make the color a bit darker or lighter. And also the thing that I am going to do is I am going to use the warp tool, which may help me to, under the arrow tool, the warp will help me to deform the shape of the rock so that it gives the illusion that I have created a new rock. In that way it saves your time and you can create different shapes of the things which have free form in nature. So after the rocks are done, then we will create a new layer in which I will draw a trapezium like shape coming from the tent towards the rocks, but it will not reach till the rocks, and it will be done with the yellow color, which is the first color from the left in the middle row. And I will use under S the free form shape to draw that trapezium and fill it with the yellow color, and then I will blur that to give the effect of that lamp inside the tent, that it's throwing a light outside of the tent too. And also I might reduce the opacity of the layer so that it doesn't stay so bright. So I am also using the smudge tool with medium brush and airbrushing, and I am smudging it with another a bit lighter yellow color. I'll put on top towards the end of that trapezium, and I'll smudge it, blur it first and then smudge it to give, you know, a very beautiful glow on that grass. And after all of this have been done, I will go to that arrow tool and select this part, and I will reduce it a bit further down, and I will place this layer below that blade, below the layer which has those blades of grass. Now we will be drawing the stars in a new layer, and for that I have gone to the brush library, and in luminance you can find a brush known as glimmer. So you have to go, you have to click on glimmer so that it takes you to its properties, and in its stroke properties you have to increase the spacing to 99% and jitter to 196%. Once that and you have done that, press on the done, and then you can draw the stars with any white color, or you can pick up the color which is fourth from the right on the middle row and draw your stars from left to right, and this will give you a sky full of stars. And after this, in a new layer, I will be drawing the moon, and for that I will go to the selection tools S, and using the ellipse of that, draw a circle and fill it with the same white color. On top of that moon layer, I will use a new layer to make the markings on the moon and also the craters. So first you need to pick up the color a bit darker blue, which is fourth from the left and on the bottommost row, and then using rusted decay under industrial in the brush library and with 2% size, you can draw a stroke on the moon in a new layer just above the layer where you have drawn the white moon. So first do the strokes on the left with that at the very edge of the moon, then using a comparatively lighter blue, like third from the left on the bottommost row, you can do some more markings and then make a few craters on the moon. So you can just look and follow along how I've done it on the moon. Then you can produce exactly similar type of moon that I have done. And once it is done, then create a layer, new layer, which will be under the layer which has only the white circle of the moon. So under that layer you have to create with your medium brush and same white color, but reduce the opacity and create a circle around the moon, and then smudge it to give the glow of the moon. So now I'll speak how I've done the smoke. So for doing the smoke, you have to go to the elements in the brush library, and under elements you can find a brush known as flames. Using the brush flames and the same white color that you have used to make the moon, use it and draw a squiggly line coming out from behind one of the tents. This layer you have to place below the tent layer, and you draw the squiggly line which goes from there to the top of the canvas, exactly like the way I have done, and then you bring down the opacity of that layer to around 35%, 30 to 35%, and you can find your smoke being. If you have watched till the end of this video, thanks a lot. That means a lot to me. And if you have liked this video tutorial, please hit the thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel. And if you like some specific type of tutorial to be done in Procreate, please let me know in the comment section below. Bye friends. See you in the next tutorial.